Hello, everyone. How are you? So I apologize for the tardiness. Nothing wanted me to do this class. Every single tech difficulty that I had to get on seemed to arise. And so I'm excited though, because it just says there's error load. Okay, good, but we're good. We're going to press forward. So I know that this class is going to really help so many women. And so even though we have some tech difficulties and different things, we're going to press on and we're going to jump into this master class. So first of all, hello, everyone. I am so excited about this workshop, about this master class, about this intimate sit down with me, as we're going to spend time talking about these just some amazing 3 areas. And so I want to jump right into it. I do not want to waste your time. First of all, I want to thank everyone who's watching, for everyone who's taken out the time to tune into this masterclass. And so I have my notes here. We're going to get right into this workshop. And again, if you have someone who you know needs to view this, then be sure to invite them on as well. So we're going to go into the 3 areas for tonight. And there's 3 areas, 3 sections, I guess you could say. And they are the story, the system, and the setup. And the reason why I really wanted to do this course, or this, whatever you want to call masterclass, whatever way you want to phrase it, the reason was because I get so many questions about women becoming entrepreneurs or leaders, or, you know, just more confident in life, period. And the biggest issue that women talk to me about is their money. Because even though I'm not a financial expert, I'm a business expert. So I teach people how to make the money. I teach women how to make the money. And so a lot of women, they come to me and they tell me, Genesis, you know, I'm struggling and launching this idea or going out and doing this. And it's funny because many of the issues that they're bringing to me are because of their lack of self-esteem. It has nothing to do with the fact that they have, you know, less experience than someone else. It has nothing to do with the fact that maybe they have less, it could be accolades of somebody else. The biggest issues arise because many of the women that I talk to in the inbox, in coaching, they have low self-esteem. And so I decided that I wanted to do this masterclass because we're going to use my life. And even though I've only been on this world for only a short period of time, God has given me wisdom. And this is, I truly believe, is one of my giftings or anointings, is the fact that God has given me wisdom that I did not have to experience. And there are some things that I did experience, which we'll jump into, but God also has given me wisdom to help women of all ages to really pull them out of what has been keeping them in bondage so that they can really walk in true leadership and impact. But money is a funny topic for many women, because as women, we cling to security. Okay, we cling to security. We want to be secure. Okay, this is very important. We want to be secure. We want to be secure. And so because of our need and desire, you know, if you think about most women, when it comes to even relationships, you know, that all the different things that come with that, for most women, what we look for, one thing that we look for in a man is security. We want to be stable. We want there to be some kind of consistency, right? I mean, that goes for anybody, but for women especially, because I really truly believe that as women who are maternal in every way, and you know, we look to care for others, we as a caretaker of others, we want to make sure that while we're the ones giving out all this love and support, we need stability as caretakers, as givers. You know, givers look for stability. Many givers, though, lack stability. They lack it. I've seen many give because there's an imbalance, and we're going to address that. But the whole purpose is that we look for stability. Let's just start there. We look for stability. And so there is a nervousness in many women when there is not stability in their lives. There's no stability in their finances. There's no stability in their self-esteem. And so, you know, we look to impact the world, but things aren't moving or shaking because of our inability to have stability. Okay, our inability to have stability in our lives. And we begin to see instability in our finances and maybe in our relationships, and all these things come back to one root. And that is yourself, your belief in yourself, your self-esteem. So I'm going to open up. We're going to first talk about just my story. We're going to talk about my story. We're going to talk about, how I really got on the path to understanding how to actually be secure. Women want security, but many of us look for security in other people. Then when other people cannot give us that security, it is a very scary place. But true security does not come from other people. True security comes from yourself. Before I even am secure in a relationship, I've got to be secure in myself. Before my bank account gets secure, I've got to be secure in myself. Everything comes back to how secure are you? Not how secure is another man, not how secure are your customers or your clients, not how secure is your family, how secure are you? Because your security is the basis for everything else. It's not, what I'm not saying is that, if you're secure, everything will be perfect. But when you are secure, you have better control of how to impact and how to do things. And you also have a better management system on what happens to you and how it happens and when it happens. Now, there are some things that we cannot control, but many of the reasons why women are losing are not because of things that we cannot control. We're losing things that we can control. That's the whole point. Many things that we are not successful in are not because these are events that we cannot control, but it's because we're facing things that we really have the power to control, but we're not controlling it. So I want to first start off with my story. So I was 19 years old, came home from college. Many of you who have watched me talk about, my testimony, my story over and over again. When I was 19, I came home from school and, I had to take over a leadership position, and it really forced me into understanding business, understanding responsibility. But I don't really want to start the story there. I want to start the story a little bit after I kind of came home. And these are things that I have never talked about, but because of the premise of this masterclass and what we're doing in this class, it's vital that this information is shared, because we have to establish the rawness of your security. So when I came back home, one of the things that was happening, of course, is at first I had the leadership position. Then when things kind of got resettled and things like that, then what happened was that I kind of took on less responsibility because things were kind of getting normal. And I just began to took a low salary cut. And so the salary cut that I had, now I could increase it, but at that time it was, it was just to kind of give the money back to business. Well, it still was not a lot of money. So at that point, I was not in the beginning, but later on, I was making pretty much about $750 every 2 weeks. And that came out to be $1,500. This is very important. This is after the taxes were taken out. So it was making $1,500 per month. And this is when God was giving me a business. This is when God was birthing in me leadership. At that time, I had already started Girls in Realty, which was an online ministry for women of all ages, and to teach them how to walk by faith. I already had bills for that. I was doing everything in my power to make sure everything was low cost, And so at that point, this is when God began to give me a desire. I was in freelancing. I was from the experience, of working with creating that ministry, I began to have skills. I began to really see my skills flourish in graphic design. So I started my own freelance business. And when I got started, this is so important to know this, and this is not just for entrepreneurs. It's not just for people in business. For if you're in career, this applies. These lessons I'm about to break down to you apply to everybody. So there is no like this is just for entrepreneurs. This is for everybody. Careers, mothers, daughters. I mean, this is for anyone who's looking to change the level of their life. So at that time, again, I was making $1,500 a month. And so I could not move out of the house with my parents because I was not making enough to support me. I didn't have enough money to even think about getting a place. By the time I would get a place, I would maybe only have $300 left. And that was not going to cut it. I was not going to have that. And so living at my parents' place, making $1,500 a month, just like, how am I going to grow anything with this check? Like, by the time I get done, just the basics, you know, I have nothing. Like, it's not enough money. And God began to give me ideas on how to make money. This is where I'm going to take us. But I had a lot of issues. And let's unpack some of these issues. So one of the issues was that I had low self-esteem. I was very confident, and this is what we're going to break down. I was very confident when it came to things that required me to not have or force myself to walk in a higher self-esteem outside of my comfort zone. So, you know, if I was like streaming online, I had confidence. At first, I didn't even have confidence then, but I got confidence. You know, I had confidence when it came to doing things that were comfortable and did not require me to change. So I would tell everybody, oh, I have high self-esteem. Oh, yeah, I'm confident. Do you not see me doing this? Do you not see me doing that? Yeah, okay. But the problem is that those things were not, they were new to me, but they were not new enough for me to change at the root who I really was. You know, there are some things that we can actively put a mask on and still operate in. And we tell everybody that we have high self-esteem, and it's not high self-esteem. It's just simply the fact that you can, let's plug this, tolerate your current self and not have to change into the new self. So, you know, you're just good, you're fine. But the problem is that the real you comes out when you have to tell people what you're worth. And this is where I always knew this is who I really was. See, who you really are is not who you tell people. It's what you tell people when they ask you, what are you going to charge me? It's when you ask me, you know, are you going to do this? Yes or no? It's when you have to make decisions. Do you know that and we're going to get into the system, but that was one of my issues. My decisions were proof of my self-esteem, of the level of my self-esteem. I didn't realize it, that I was still addicted to things, addictions that tore me up. Now, some of you may not be addicted to some things, thank the Lord. But for me, I was addicted to some things. I was addicted to sexual promiscuity. I was addicted to some things that were distracting me. And here's the thing, I was addicted to those things because I had low self-esteem. It robbed me of focusing on my purpose and my destiny. It robbed me because, see, I thought that I was not enough. So I felt like I had to be enough for other people who didn't really love me or care for me. So that was just one aspect. But that's just one area. Oh, but there's more. There's the other area of because of my past experiences, I was trying to find void fillers in other people, places, and things. And sometimes we don't want to admit it. Sometimes, you know, we act like some of us are just, everything just perfect and dandy. But see, if everything was perfect and dandy, you should not be watching this video, because you should be quite all right then. You don't need this video. Everything must be good for you. Okay. But this video, this masterclass is not for those who, you know, you've gotten over it. I'm doing this masterclass. This masterclass is not even for everybody. This masterclass is for women who are still stuck. I mean, there are parts of you that you still have not walked away from, but you've told everybody else you walked away from, but you haven't. You haven't. Because if you did, you would have the reflection in your bank account, in your lifestyle. And we're going to talk about the system that should be matching according to someone who's walking away from what they've experienced, what they've been through. But see, that's why the enemy has he enjoys it when you remain focused on what has robbed you, on what has taken away life from you, or on what has kept you replaying the tape over and over and over again. He enjoys those kinds of things. And the thing about it is that decisions are where you get free. See, decisions show whether you're stuck or whether you're free. If you don't want to be free, you'll never make the decisions. But if you want to be free, the decisions will change. But the same thing about decisions is decisions are made made based upon your ability to believe in yourself. The reason why many women don't change, the reason why some of us are not secure is not because we need to hear more sermons. I've talked about this before. It's not because we need to hear more encouragement. It is simply because you don't want to make a decision. And that decision right there, the decision to walk away, the decision to, and we're going to talk about some of the decisions that you're going to have to make, but those decisions come because, why? Because see, there is an inner gut feeling, and I talked about this before as a preview to what's going to happen in this class. There's a gut feeling that I know women experience because I've experienced. There's a gut, it's almost like being on a roller coaster and coming over that hill and you know that you're about to drop. That's exactly how it feels when you're somebody who you've been playing around with who you know you need to be, and you have been trying to not accept where God really wants to take you. But here's the thing, you are tired of experiencing the same experiences, the same bills, the same worries, the same troubles, the same ins and outs. And the thing about it is that like people, like if you sign up for this class, it's not that somehow you've never had this feeling. If you sign up for this class, it's because you know, like you've had that over the heel feeling of this thing's about to drop. My life is really, it's going to change, but I've got to go over. You've got to go over. And that's really the thing about securing your mind. You've got to go over that hump. You keep on asking, oh, God, remove. See, God's not going to remove the hump. The thing about removing the hump or removing the nervousness or removing the fear, and we're going to talk about what has to change, is that He can't remove it because that's something you got to get over. See, that's something that you have to make the choice of. I'm not going to allow it to control me. But see, God, we ask God to remove it. And the thing is, if God removes it, you'll never learn anything. If God removes it, you'll never have to make a decision. That's why we ask God to remove it. Oh, God, just take it. No. That's something you could have told them no about. See, you don't want to tell them no. So you pray that God removes the experience or removes the people. Just tell them no. Just tell them. I mean, these are things that we have to understand. So for me, I struggled making money. When I got started, I struggled. I struggled making money. I struggled being who God had told me to be. I struggled showing up for myself. I struggled being me. This is so important. I struggled being me. I struggled being Genesis. And see, for me, I thought Genesis was who I thought I was. But see, God does not want to bring you to who you think you are. He wants to bring you to who He said you were. And there is a difference between who you think you are and who God said you were. Because sometimes who we think we are is not who God said we were. What does that mean? What I'm saying about that is many times our perceptions of who we are shaped by our lack of trust in ourselves. See, some of us, we're seeing our future and who we are through a lens that's already broken. But see, when God wants to show you who you are, it's not a broken lens. It's not a lens seen through your experiences. It's not a lens seen through your loss. It's not a lens that's seen through, all the abandonment that you've been through and the rejection and the hurt and the pain. But see, that's how I saw myself. So I even saw the future me as a woman that God said, I never even created you to walk like that, to talk like that, to even be in those types of positions. I never created you to walk in that. So you're going to have to change the idea of who you are. Some of you have been replaying. Sorry for that phone call. Some of you have been replaying and trying to be somebody who you really have never been made to be. And that's another reason why for many women, you have an issue making money or showing up for yourself or being or charging your worth, because now it's like, I'm going to charge my worth based upon what I think. But I think it should be what no. What did God say? For me, and we're going to go into these notes. I'm so excited. God's so good. For me, it was the fact that when my parents went away and I had to come out, and this is some of y'all have to, some of the experiences that you've been through, the enemy's job in those experiences was to rob you of everything that belonged to you. When John 10 says the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, the reason why many of us are not being successful, are not walking in success, is because we keep on rehearsing the tape of what we've been through. You keep on replaying the tape of what you've lost. And see, if the enemy can get your focus on what you've lost, you'll never realize that it's time to get what you lost back. And for me, the reason why I was never making it, the reason why I was never rising up above the level that I was at, was because, see, sometimes we think that because we made it through the storm, that somehow we automatically gained some lessons. No. See, I went through a storm, and yes, I became better. I did become sharper. But it's funny because I had the confidence to run my parents' business. But then when God told me it's time to step out for you, I had the hardest time giving birth to anything that had my name on it. I had the confidence to run their business. I had the confidence to step into that role. But then when God told me it's time for you to now do what you've been called to do as well, I rejected every single idea of it. Why? Let's go back to it. I was 19. Many of you know the story, but there are some things that you do not know. I was 19 and I was enjoying myself at Spelman College. I get the call. Your parents are going away. Okay, what happens? What are we doing here? You have to come home, you have to run the family business, assume all the responsibilities. Of course, you have the staff to help you. It won't be that hard, but it will be where you basically have to hold down the fort for your family. Cool. Fighting appeals, and parents went away for something that they did not even do. We learned on how trusting people about your finances is not the best choice. My parents had to pay the price for them putting their trust in somebody else that did us completely wrong. And so I was in a place where I did not trust anybody, did not trust anyone and what they said to me because of what people had done to my parents and done to my family. Did not trust because of people who had walked away from us. I had a hard time trusting people. It messed up my money when I finally came time for me to do something. Then there was the fact that because my father was not in my life for a period of time, and I needed my father very, very much, I put my trust in men who did me very wrong. And it messed up my focus. I began to give my attention to things that were sucking me dry. And they knew they were sucking me dry because they were taking advantage of a girl who did not have her father. And the enemy's job through that whole storm was to prevent me from being the woman I am right now. I'm not perfect. I'm not a millionaire, but God has helped me make a lot of money. But I would have never gotten in this place if I never got free from that experience that happened to our family. It came to rob us. And the enemy's job, when he brings events into your life, his job is to rob you of you. His job is to suck you dry of every dream, of every desire. But here's the thing too, of your belief in yourself because of what you've experienced. See, what happens with self-esteem is that we look at what we've been through, when we in our minds believe that we can never pick up the pieces because of how broken the experiences have left us. And these are things I don't really talk about online like that, because I would only do it in like a masterclass or setting like this, because it's, these are things that have been personally affected me in my life. I mean, it's the only reason why I became addicted to certain things, and because I was trying to cope with loss and trying to be responsible and trying to be this and trying to be that. And I was like, God, I know you've called me. I know I'm important. I know I'm special. But the enemy, he was going, after my mind, after every single area of myself. I never thought I was good enough because I was always feeling like I couldn't trust people. So I always felt like I was competing with something in their minds. I would make up things in my head about how people would be after me. It wasn't so much paranoia, but it was the belief that somehow, no one would ever pick me. No one would ever choose me. No one would ever want me. But see, all those thoughts came because of what I've lost. And see, the enemy uses loss to make you feel like you're lost. He uses arenas and people, places and things and environments and experiences to make you feel like you're never going to come back, to make you feel like that everyone else is just somehow successful and you're stuck in this place. And so I was stuck. I was successful, but I was stuck. I was running Girls with Royalty, but I was stuck. These things I've never talked about. I was doing ministry and stuck. I was encouraging other people and extremely stuck. Extremely stuck. Because why? I had no problem encouraging people. And no problem telling people, everything's gonna be all right. God's gonna do it in your life. He's gonna make a change. God, he believes in your potential, and he loves you so much. But when it came time for me to charge my worth, to be the woman behind the scenes, I fell short. I felt like I could never somehow, be this person. I said, no, I'm gonna be successful. I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be the boss. I'm gonna be this boss woman. I'm and all these, and I would listen to videos just like this, telling me on how I was important. But, I never had a video like this. This is the reason why I wish there was a woman like me who was telling me who I could have signed up for this class years ago. I'd probably be great. Because what no one seems to want to tell is that, you can't become successful without you really unwrapping you and rebuilding you through God's grace. We have this idea that somehow if we just meditate enough, if we just, rest enough, all these different components, then it'd be fine. Just do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that, drink some tea with lemon, do a little bit of this, you probably need to do a detox. We just do all these little things. Somehow everything will be. And I tried so many ways to be all right. I tried so many tips and tricks on how to be all right. I tried to be this boss woman. Everyone told me, if you just do that, just sign up for this webinar, just do this. And I would sign up just trying to be all right. Just trying to be this woman that somehow I was supposed to be. And it was like over and over again. I kept on trying to be who God made me, but through a broken lens. I didn't want to give up that lens, because that lens was made from what I had been through. I didn't want to give up that perspective, because that perspective had been the basis of my choices, good and bad. That perspective was how I saw people. It was how I saw things because of what I had been through. And so a lot of times we think about how, I do charge my worth. I do this. I do that. I do say no to people. No, you don't. You don't say no. You tell people that you say no to people, but you don't say no. You post that, no is a complete sentence, but you don't go by it. So we live a life of memes and quotes and beings, and we don't have these raw moments where we're just like, everything has to change. It all has to change. If you want your money to change, all this has to change. And when I lost my grandmother, and I'll never forget it, that's when I had one of my lowest points, because we were fighting so that my father could basically come to the funeral. And the government basically said, and everything said that he could come, all the laws and everything. And they gave us so many excuses on why my father cannot see his own mother's funeral. And so I had to be at that funeral, and everyone was saying, where is your mother and father? Where's everyone at? How come, you are the only one here? Where's everyone at? And I couldn't even handle the moment, because that's how I felt in life. Where's everybody at? Where's my life at? Where's everybody at? Where is the promise that everyone keeps on saying that I'm appointed, I'm called, I'm assigned, I'm anointed? Where is all this at? Where I'm looking for it, and I don't see it happening in my life. I'm trying to be this person. I'm trying to cast myself as this person for the world, to see. But I need this thing to manifest. Where is that? I keep on hitting walls after walls. Where is this thing at? And I got to such a low place that I became so numb. That's what happened to me. I became a numb woman. I became a woman who I felt, but I only felt to a certain degree. I didn't want to be hurt. I didn't want to be broken. I didn't want to be more of what I already was. So what I did was I created this shield around me. And what I forgot was that when you create a shield like that, you also mess up your money, because that shield prevents you from being who God called you to be. The shield, it blocks us from walking in the vulnerability of the Holy Spirit, to be led by his voice, because we put a wall up all around us, and we become a straggler on the fence almost, where it's like one step into what God has called me to do, and the other step I'm just not ready yet. You don't understand what I've been through. You don't understand where I'm at. You just don't understand. But then it's like, oh, but I want success. But I want it. And it's like that, like I said before, it's that heel. It's that I'm coming over the hill, and I know that I've got to go down and come back up. But I don't want, no, not yet. Not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet. And so what we do is we feed our spirits with excitement and encouragement, but it's still not yet. I want to be this woman of boldness, of that, and I'm hearing it, but when it comes to decision making, oh no, not yet, not yet. Again, we fast forward, making $1,500 a month. I was messed up a wreck. And God was bringing me clients. Some of you know this particular part where the story, because I've shared this before, and I was at the school with my mother. She told me this when everyone, and my parents came home and everything was, amazing. And, we didn't even lose a thing. That's the grace of God. We never lost a thing. But I did lose myself. I had to get myself back. And never forget, I was in the school, I was trying to take on a client call at lunchtime. And at the school, and my mother said, she said, it's your time to go. It's time for you to walk out into your business. If it's like this, you can't balance both. You need to go out and walk into your business. And I never really felt like I was ready for entrepreneurship. I was like, what? But I left that day. I left, and I said, God, I don't really know how this goes, because remember at that time I really did not believe in myself like that. So for me to be a full-time entrepreneur, for me, this doesn't even apply to entrepreneurship. You could be in career mode. It could be maybe the whole idea of you going into another career field, or you getting a higher position, and it's like, it's time, but I had to make a decision. So I said, how am I going to make money? Because I know how to make some money, but how do I make more money? It's funny because I look at the numbers. I used to make $1,500. Let me just read to you some of my recent numbers. I'm shocked, just shocked, on where God has brought me from. But see, I don't want to give you the story of someone who made $1 million in like 2 weeks, or made $1 million in like 5 months. That's not my story. I'm the story of the woman who, I may not make millions every week or whatever, but in the last 30 days, through just one of my businesses, and this is not even my graphic, it's not an agent, it's not Glam Print Go, this is not, from just selling my books and just online courses, people signing up, in the last 30 days, in 1 month, $7,000, $7,201. In just one avenue of my business. Just one. I used to struggle making $1,500 because I did not believe in myself. I did not believe in. And when I started believing in myself, everything changed. To the fact where Product Queen, $4,470, Bougie Standard, $2,300, Hustle School, $4,000, Boss Builder, $2,000. Last 7 days. And some of these things didn't even happen in the last 30 days. Some of these happened way before that. But still, the point is that I'm making so much more because I believed in myself. Because see, when you give yourself more, you make more. So now I want to talk about this system. I don't want to waste your time. I want to talk about the system. Because this could be you making more in your career. This could be making more in your business. It could be making more just in yourself, and just receiving abundance, receiving overflow, receiving this life of more than enough, right? The mindset. Let's talk about the 3 areas in which your mind has to change to secure the bank. And I'm going to ask you some questions. The first thing that I had to change was that, this, you could be taking notes, if you're doing whatever you may be doing. These are the 3 areas in which you're going to have to get a board or something. You're going to have to ask you some honest questions. The first one is you got to start talking like your future. You have to first know, before we even get into that, you got to know where you're going. For me, I never really had a goal of like where I was going. I just knew I wanted to be successful. I knew that I wanted to make money. But when you talk about things and they're so generic, they're never really a goal. I had to actually have a goal. Who was I? Who are you? I'm not talking about where you are. I'm not talking about, where you live. I'm not talking about how much money you currently make. I'm not even talking about your title. I want to ask you, who are you? If you don't know who you are, it's because you've allowed things to cloud your identity. I had to first realize who I was, my strengths and my weaknesses. Self-awareness is one of the greatest powers you can ever have. I begin to say things like, understand, I'm bubbly. I'm very passionate. It can be a good thing and a bad thing. I know that when I get hooked on something, I go after it with a large fire. I'm fiery. I can be someone who is all in or extremely all out. I don't really have a middle ground. I begin to realize that I'm creative and that I'm resourceful. Instead of me looking at I was spent so much time looking at what I've been through. And I started thinking about, who am I? Off the grid, off the paper, who am I? And then from there, I began to build a future. I saw myself owning this and doing that. But then it was more than just me owning things. I had to realize, what was the goal? It's not just me owning something. What exactly am I owning? Where does it exist? Who are the types of people that I need to be around? We're going to talk about some of these things. But I had to first shape my future. You got to give, listen to me, you've got to give voice and matter. That's the right word. It's matter to your future. The word matter can mean substance. For instance, if something has matter, it usually means it's not something that is untouchable. Usually if something has matter, it means it has mass, it has weight to it. It's something that's of substance. There's actually something there. So a lot of times you have to create the matter of your future. You got to start shaping it. What does it actually look like? You got to see that thing. You can't just be a hoper. See, a lot of times as women, we've made it a hope or a desire. That's why most people don't get anything done. So we have so many women bosses who don't have anything to be a boss over. You don't have a future for your family. You don't have the idea of what your family looks like. You don't have the idea of what your life looks like. You don't have an idea of what your career looks like. And so when there's no matter, when you don't have any substance to what you're doing, you'll never be able to hold on to it because there's nothing to hold on to. So I had to begin to create what. And so here's the three things. The first thing was I had to talk like my future. So I had to first see my future to know what it was like to talk like my future. Now, the first thing in talking like your future is you've got to remove, and I said that we were going to cover this today, you've got to remove the language of lack. You've got to remove the language of lack. You've got to remove the language of lack, okay? And let me tell you what I mean by the language of lack. For me, this is so important. For me, one of the main reasons why I was struggling in receiving the abundance of God was because I had become addicted to, even in success. School was going great, everything was going great, but you didn't know I was still living and walking in the language of lack. Let me tell you what I mean by that. The language of lack is when you see everything through what you've lost. And so the way that you talk about your future is through the lens of what you lost. Well, what you've lost is what you lack. But guess what? God does not exist for you to focus on your lack. He exists for you to realize that he will take whatever I lack and take that loss and turn it into a winning situation. So I had to begin to see even all of my insufficiencies, my inabilities. I had to turn what I couldn't do into, well, what can I do? So let me focusing on what I can do, what I'm not good at. Let me start to figure out, what can I do? Because see, your wealth is locked up into what you can do. A lot of times we're not making money because we're focusing on what we can do, on how we're not good at something, on how, you can get somebody else to do that. Well, if you can get somebody else to do that, well, maybe you don't need to be focusing on selling that. What can you do? What can you supply? What can you give? And here's the thing about what can you do. Are you willing to be somebody who's confident in what you do? Well, Genesis, I see everybody doing it. I see everyone doing it. Well, that's the language of lack. The language of lack will say, oh, everything's full. No one needs what I have. No one ever is going to need my services. No one's ever going to need me on this project team. I don't really see my career rising in corporate. I don't see myself helping more people within this corporation or establishment or nonprofit. And see, what God's saying is, God is looking for people who are not going to say, here's the problem. You got to be like somebody that says, here's the solution. I've come. See, the thing about it is that God has made you to be a solution maker, not to be a lack thinker. You got to be a solution thinker. So if you want want to remove the language of lack, I've got to put myself in position to dream big, and not just dream big, but to do big. Many of us are dreaming big, but you don't do anything about your dreams because of your inability to believe in yourself. So you've got to make it up in your mind that let me begin to shape my future in my mind. Instead of me having thoughts about what did not happen, what didn't go well, how I didn't get that, how I didn't, get that position. Let me begin to think about, well, you know what? If I didn't get that position, well, God, bless my hands, bless the work of my hands, so that maybe I'm the one who creates the job. Maybe I'm the one who creates the position in the company. Maybe, the position that you're looking for does not exist yet. And maybe if you begin going to work in your corporation to be that solution thinking person, that maybe God has a blessing or an open door, and that may be the reason. We got to really begin expanding our ability to receive. What we do is we try to quantify reasons for why we are living a life of lack. Well, it's probably because this happened, and that happened too. And so Genesis, this is why that happened. So this is why that happened. Well, why do you keep on trying to justify why things are not going well? How about you start justifying how things can go right? How about you start thinking about ways that I can change this and move this? Well, I may not have this, but I do have that. And let me take some of that and let me make it work. The woman who only had a small jar of oil, when the prophet told her to go get some pots, she didn't begin thinking about quantifying, well, I only have one jar of oil. So you tell me to go out here and get all these pots. Well, I don't really think it's such a good idea because I only have. Let me tell you something. Some of us are not yet ready for change. You know why? We are in a place of desperation. People, as women, it's funny on how we have the energy to allow people to suck us dry of our time, of our money, of our patience, right? But here's funny thing. We have time for people to suck us dry. We have the time. But somehow we don't have the time to go after what we've lost. We have the time to be more lost. We have the time to lack more, but we do not somehow have the time to get back what we lost. The woman lost her sons. She was about to lose her sons. And so she was willing to do whatever it would take because she did not want to lose what she had left. See, I'm telling you, it's so important. Sometimes we feel like we've lost it all. And see, for me, I thought that I had lost it all. And God, he always says to me, you have never lost it all. There's always something, because I'm telling you, God is so good. There's always something left for you to use to bring your life to another level. There's always something, a gift, a talent, an ability, a mouth, hands, right? She didn't lose her sons yet. Because she realized that I have the ability to not lose them if I focus on what I've got, right? You got to believe in yourself that no matter what you've lost, you still got some things left in your toolkit. You still got some things left to go to work with. But you got to believe that you've got it. But you just don't know. I've been through language of lack. I know that you've been through some things. I know that things are tough. Believe me, I know what it's like to lose. But at some point, you got to say, it's time to win. But see, have you come to a point where you're desperate enough to have the hunger to pursue what you've lost? Some of us don't have the hunger yet. That's one of the reasons why we will not get back what we've lost, because you don't have the hunger. You're too complacent in what you've lost that you don't have the hunger to get it back. You know why? You don't think it belongs to you. You don't think you deserve it. You think that because the enemy robbed you of it, that somehow he's robbed you of your ability to get it back. Oh, Genesis, I can't take it anymore. I just can't. No, you can. You just don't want to. Oh, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. You got to make up a choice, though, that you want to. So I had to begin to bring substance and matter to my future. I had to begin to paint the picture. And as I was doing that, my mind became more secure, because instead of me focusing on the language of lack, I began to say to myself that I see opportunities and abilities. I have a gifting on the inside of me, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get back myself. It's time for you to get you back. You know that? It's time for you to get you back. You get you back by getting back the things that you lost. Number two, I had to begin to look like my future. The enemy had robbed me of self-esteem when it came to my body, when it came to how I looked, when it came to how I dressed. I began to compare myself to other women. And that really robbed me also too of making money, because I didn't have any confidence when I walked into a room, because I was so focused on what someone else looked like and how good they looked and how I didn't look all the way well. And, you know, the enemy's job, especially when it comes to women, is to rob us of our ability to see our own beauty. He tries to rob you of your ability to see your own beauty. Some of you don't make money. Some of you have not pursued a healthier career or going more. You know why? Because you don't love yourself. You don't love yourself. You've allowed this lack of love to remain. It should be over by now. So that's what tonight, it's very important that you realize that if you're going to secure your mind, you got to secure the love for yourself. Now, you got to trace back though where you lost it. For me, I lost my belief in myself when I lost my parents, you know, and I didn't have them for a period of time. That loss created a loss. Remember, losses the enemy's job is to take a loss and to make it a greater loss for how you think, work, all that. So I didn't have confidence in my body. So that's the reason why I began to go into relationships that were not healthy for me. Then those relationships damaged then even my self-esteem even more. Sometimes for some of us, maybe it's our marriage, maybe it's certain things that have happened, certain experiences, molestation, rape. Sometimes it's just bad relationships where that person has not ever really showed you your worth, you know. And so what we've done is it's funny on how we have moments of self-esteem. We have moments where we tell the world, I'm bad to the bone, you know, I look good. But then when we walk by ourselves into places and rooms and all those kind of things, we don't have the same as self-esteem. So it's like we have esteem for the showing of people, but then when it comes to the showing of your bank account, the showing of your confidence is not there. Why? Because remember, self-esteem, that belief in yourself, you gotta be willing to have a hunger for what you lost. You lost your self-esteem. Are you hungry enough to get it back? Are you hungry enough to love yourself again? Are you dedicated to you? Some of us are dedicated to more people, dedicated to more time, dedicated to pouring into them more than we are pouring into ourselves. But when are you? And this is funny. We put things off like, oh, you know, I'm going to start believing in myself now. Okay, what are you going to do tonight? What are you going to do tomorrow that's going to be different? Because otherwise you're going to be in the same place. You know, but I have to come to that point where I begin to look like my future. As I was giving matter to my future and understanding where I was going and the people I would have to interact with, I began to say, okay, I have to treat me better. I have to love on me better. I have to make sure I look good for myself, not for other people, but for me. I have to enjoy me. See this thing, when you enjoy you, you become a sharper you. When you love yourself more, you unlock your ability to have more confidence. Because see, if I love myself more, if I give me more time, if I give me more space, if I give me more love, I will have less issues with coming into a room and believing in myself. Because when you love on you, it always comes back to you. When you love on you, you always will have a greater confidence to flow in how you talk to someone, how you present yourself. But see, you've got to begin to look like your future. And see, when I say look like, I don't just mean on the outside, I mean on the inside. I had to begin looking like my future. I had to begin to see my fire in me that I have now did not come from something I just picked up. No, the Holy Spirit birthed that into me when I begin to love myself. That fire was birthed from the inside of me when I begin to not be so shy about how, you know, oh, well, someone else, they talk like this, and somebody else, well, they do this. No, I begin to say, I love me for how I talk. I love me for my passion. I love me. And here's the thing is that I love myself so much that even when I come into spaces and I could have the moment to reduce back or scale back or, kind of close myself out. And, when I see other people, oh, I'm not going to be so much of me. No, 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 no. I love me so much that I'm not going to change who I am to make somebody feel better. See, that day is over. See, when you love yourself and you're desperate, when you're desperate to get you back, to secure your mind back of what you've lost, you will never be that person to say, oh, well, I'm going to scale myself back. There's other people here. I'm not going to be myself. No, I will. See, I've lost too much to not be myself. I've been through too much crap to not have a hunger to get myself back. I have literally, when you look at all the things that you've lost, right? I mean, we're the ones who've been stuck for so long because of what we lost. So you already know what you've lost. There's no question of you if I ask you, what did you lose? But now it becomes the question of, from what I've lost, am I willing to become the woman that God wants me to be? I've got to begin looking like my future. So I begin to change the way I dress. I begin to change the way of my mannerisms. I begin to change the way of my behavior patterns. Even the way that I would hang out with people changed. Even like how I dress when I went to certain meetings changed. Everything around me began to change. Why? I've had to see, what does my future dress like? What does my future talk like? What does my future, how do they behave? And I begin to, instead of me focusing on what I did not have, I begin to focus on, well, you know what? Let me focus on what I've got. And let me look at where I'm going. And let me begin to push myself closer to where my future is. Not to where I'm stuck. Not to what the people say no. Not to my inabilities. But let me push myself closer to where I'm going. And so as I begin to focus more on the woman that God had made me to be, I'm telling you, that thing will start coming out of you. And then it comes, and here's the other thing, then I begin to walk in my future. There's 3 ends. So the system is, you got to talk like your future, you got to look like your future, and you've got to walk like your future. In the walking, there's 3 ends that you've got to do. You've got to network, you've got to notate, and you've got to negotiate. Okay? Networking, you've got to focus. See, a lot of us, our money, and we talk about this, our money is funny because of our network. Some of us have been extremely successful, but so it's funny how it's funny, like we have the confidence to do things in batches, right? It's like we'll go real hard, right? We'll go real hard for a moment, and then we're like done. We're done. And we become so successful, but then we've capped ourselves because now there's a new fear. New fear has set in because you've done really well up to this point, and now that you have the new fear because there's new people, new contracts, new negotiations, new opportunities, new projects. So now you're nervous because this is a new arena, a new place, a new space. But you were never meant, I said this before, you were never meant to be comfortable. See, comfortability, I'm talking about this before, comfortability is such a thing because you're only to be comfortable in your purpose. But what it takes to be comfortable in purpose is not comfortable. We got to change our idea of comfortable means. We think that comfortable, means that, there'll be no issues. We think comfortable means, things just gonna always be perfect. That does not mean no. Comfortable means I'm in the right fit. Everything is molded to who I am. Didn't say everything will be perfect. Comfortable. It's pleasing because it fits you. It fits. It's comfortable. I have space. Yeah. That's what that means. So I'm not looking for perfect situations. I'm looking for things that fit me, things that have my name on it, things that belong to me. That's comfortable. But see, it's not always comfortable to get those things, now is it? So that's the reason why you've got to network. You've got to every single time I come over a new hill and I feel like, whew, that drop's about to come. Guess what? That drop, that inability for you sometimes to meet new people and go to new places and do new things is because, see, in your past, you got addicted to what broke you. You got addicted to, broken people and broken things. And see, your money is not in what was broken. Your money is now in where God is taking you to. God, that's remember, I've got to have the confidence. That's why I've got to talk like my future. I've got to look like my future so I can walk in my future. Okay? So for some of us, we got to change some things. Some of you are trying to have the old you, new ways. A lot of things changed. So many things changed with me. I'm not the same woman I was a couple years ago. And you shouldn't be either. I began to change. So many things changed in me. And so I began to network. My network increased. But see, that's because my mind was increasing at the same time. I began to take notes. Begin to take notes on how your future acts. What are the things that people in your future do? See, that's how I was able to talk and look, because I was notating. See, you can't walk in something that you don't know nothing about. I'm going to say that again. You can't walk into something that you know nothing about. I'll say it again. You cannot walk into something you know nothing about. If I'm going to have something in my future, then I've got to understand what my future does. I got to take notes. I got to watch videos. I got to read books. I got to begin to expand my mind, because see, God's trying to make you a better you, but it does require your participation. It does require your hunger. That's why I'm telling you, that hunger is so important. You've got to be hungry for what I'm telling you. The thing, see, when the enemy robs you, he robbed you of your time, your emotions, and your energy that you could have been using for the greater, or for your greatness, or for your purpose to be birthed out. So see, what you're doing now is it's almost like Maxine Waters, reclaiming your time. But really, even in reclaiming your time, what you're doing is you are basically saying, I'm not going to allow, what I've lost to be an excuse for why I can't do. No, it's because of the fact that I've lost it that I'm coming back to get it. So I had the time to watch videos. I had the time to read books, because see, the enemy robbed me of my time, but I'm getting my time back. I'm getting my focus back. I'm getting my hunger back. And see, that's what he came to take from you. So you gotta get back what belongs to you. Your hunger, your desire for greatness, your desire to love on yourself. You got to get that back. And so I begin to notate. I begin to take notes on what people charge. I was, at first I was charging what I thought I was. No. I begin to look at what is my future charging? Where are they going? That is where I'm going after. And then the last thing is I had to negotiate. I had to make deals. Some of us are not where we should be because you do not have the gumption to make a deal. You don't have the gumption to walk into a building, or to walk into a space, or to talk to your higher up levels and to have a discussion about where you want to go. Some of us are too scared to make negotiations. So we got to do three things. I've got to network, I've got to notate, but I've also got to negotiate. You've got to realize that you have enough to change your life right now. I did not think I had enough because I was focusing on what I've lost. But then I began to realize I've got the power to change my life right now. Right now, I've got do you know that even tomorrow I have the ability, if I really have the hunger, I have the ability to make more money than I've ever made. I sure can. Oh, yes, I can. Why? How? Well, first things I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to look at where my future is, even on a higher level of thinking, on abundance thinking, on more money. So I gotta begin to think about, what are some things that I know that God, you give me creative ability. See, I look at my assets, I look at what I can do, I look at my confidence in myself. I begin to look at, well, what can these hands do? What can this voice do? What can my feet do? And I have to begin to realize in that I have the ability to strike deals. I have the ability to bring up ideas in all sorts of concepts. You have the ability. The question is, what are you going to do? You've got, that's what I'm saying, it comes down to you've got to make a decision that security is not just a thought process. It is an action. You don't think secure. You also got to become secure. You've got to walk into security. I don't just secure my mind by me thinking good thoughts. I've got to walk in the good thoughts that I'm thinking. If you're not walking in the good thoughts that you're thinking, you won't have what you're thinking about. So again, what I have to do, I have to network. I've got to notate and I've got to negotiate. Now I have 4 questions for you, and then I'm going to introduce something for you. I've got 4 questions that really, in my mind, impact your future. They impact your future. They impact your future. Some of us have an issue because we are, what's the right term? Some of your behaviors right now are indicative. Behaviors right now are indicative of where your mind is right now. Some of the things that we're doing, let me tell you, I used to do some crazy stuff, but it was because of what was going on in my mind. I never forget when I I was that person who I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be cared on. I wanted to be someone that people would see and they would, love on me. So I would do things on purpose, like walking into 3 supermarkets in one night just to be seen by somebody. It was weird stuff, but it was stuff that I did. I would do weird stuff because I wanted to be seen so bad. But it was funny. I didn't want to be seen by the wrong people. I just wanted to be acknowledged. So if I knew I was looking good, I would walk into a supermarket and I would buy a thing of milk. And I walk into another supermarket and I would maybe get some like breakfast cereal. And then maybe I would go to Walmart. So I want you to listen to me. My mind was so messed up from my experiences that I literally would waste gas going to 3 different stores. Maybe that's not you, but it's what I'm trying to teach you is because of some of our bad experiences that robbed us, we keep on doing things that make no sense. And they're robbing you of you becoming focused, of you doing things that you need to do. I was over here buying 3 different things of cereal at 3 different supermarkets in the vicinity of my home because I wanted to be seen by somebody. What was I doing? Because, see, I wanted to be seen. I was so desperate to want to be seen, so desperate to want to be acknowledged that it was robbing me of my time to create, robbing me of my time to dream. But I was so enthralled in my mind about wanting to be this, wanting to be that. Seen by who? Couldn't even tell you. My mind was just so messed up. Just doing things I just had no business doing. Because I just wanted to be seen. Wanted to be seen. Some of you just want to be seen. You want to be acknowledged. You want somebody to show some love on you. So you do really idiotic things, to be seen. You do things you have no business doing to be seen. Sometimes maybe it's being heard. You feel like you're never heard. So you do things, really stupid things, just to be heard. Act out just to be heard. It's our lack that makes us loose. Your lack can make you very loose. Here's a loose question. How do you spend your money right now? It's a very simple question. How do you spend your money right now? One of the biggest areas that I see in women on their lack is how they spend their money and what they spend their money on. Especially for those of you who want to make more money, what do you spend your money on? And how do you spend your money? I've rarely seen people who have high self-esteem spend their money loosely. Rarely. Now, I'm not saying that you're in tons of debt. I'm not saying that, you do stupid things, but it could be as simple as, what do you spend your money on? Do you try to cope with things? It's funny on how, we really have to, there's some things we really got to acknowledge, For me, it was overeating. It's action issue that I'm just ending. I'm not going to cry about it, but it's the truth. I would buy food and not even eat it. I would go to a restaurant, and this goes back to just being seen. This goes back to being seen. I would buy food. And I would go to a restaurant, I would eat. I made me eat 1 plate, and I would have them wrap it up. Then, I want to be seen somewhere else. So I'll go to another restaurant and I'll sit down, have another plate, and have them wrap it up. I would go home and have all these leftovers and never eat them. And then there would be moments where I would eat too much. And I always try to figure out, why do I do this? Why? Why do I keep on doing this? It doesn't make any sense. Why do I keep on doing this? There were also moments where it was how I work with my money. Right? this is very important on when it comes to money. How you spend your money and what you do with your money can be a hint into areas in your life that are really messed up. And usually it's because of the connection of there are things in your mind that are still replaying from your experiences that mess you up, that's making you do some stuff. And you have to acknowledge that stuff. And you gotta say, listen, this is what I'm doing. And I've got to make this is the flesh. Thing is, your flesh does not want to change. Like, my flesh does not want to do those things. My flesh, even when it came to my money, I would do things like, I would know that I would have, finances saved over. My business was doing well, it was growing. Then what I would do is the money that I would have, like leftover money, things like that, I would spend it on things like, and I would, go out, maybe buy clothing, and I really should be saving that money. But I would go and I would spend it, I would do all these things. And some of the stuff I wouldn't even wear like later down the road, but I would just buy things and like knowing that I needed that money for something else. And it was really weird, but I wouldn't return it. Like, I would say, oh God, just bring me more resources. Just God, bring me more resources so I can, expand. And it's like, wait, no, I spent that money already doing something else. And like it was lack of self-control. And that was because I didn't think I had control. I felt like I didn't actually have I wasn't owning me. This goes back to I wasn't owning me. I wasn't willing to invest in my future, right? I wasn't willing to invest in my future. I wasn't willing to invest in my future. So you got to realize that you've got to go back to some of your behaviors and see, especially when it comes to money, especially when it comes to how your eating habits, where are some areas that you have allowed? Listen, because see, it's time to get yourself back. So you've got to go out and you've got to find all these stragglers that have happened. Because the thing is, we as women, we release these stragglers in our lives from behavioral patterns. It's time to get those stragglers, bring them right on back in. Say, listen, I was doing it like this. It's time to bring them on in. But it takes a lot of self-control. It does. But you've got to be willing. Are you desperate enough to make a change? Are you desperate enough to have a different future? Number 2, how do you release tension and anxiety? These are 4, I'm telling you, these 4 questions here, these are what I've had to really face. How do you release tension and anxiety? When you are on the path to change, when you are on the path to living a different life, to developing a better you, guess what? One of the ways that the enemy will come back to trap you is through how you release your tension and anxiety. Watch how you release. Watch who you release yourself to. A lot of times when we're trying to make better choices, going to a better place, the enemy has no problem sending things back your way. In the time of release, in the time of, you're anxious, you're nervous, you're changing, you're making changes in your life, and you're not really sure how things will end, how things will come out. And so the enemy will release things. I'm telling you, he will bring some things back, bring some people back, and people who've not been in your life in a while, they'll bring them right back into the woodworks. Somehow you bump right into them. Somehow you just saw them. It's like, wait, I haven't seen you in years. Where'd you come from? But why? So it's because it's so important. It is because I am going somewhere, and the enemy is not dumb. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Even when you leave what he tried to trap you in, he tries to suck you dry. Because while you're trying to change, while you're trying to become a better person, while you're trying to go to your next level, you're trying to have matter for your future, expand your horizons, guess what's happening? Oh man, I'm becoming a different person. You're changing your circle, and the enemy tries to bring stress. anxiety and worry. You know, how's it going to end? How are things going to happen? You know, you know, I'm just so stressed. I need a breather. I need a breather. So if you're not wise, you will shoot for your future, but you release in your past. That's what I was doing for a while. I was working on my future, ministry, business. But when I would release, because I was so stressed, I would do something from my past. I know where I'm going, but the stress, anxiety is just so much. So I would release, and I would release it through something that I used to do in my past. But the funny thing is, we think that, oh, well, you know, I'm working towards my future. I'm walking in greatness. That's going to affect me. Oh, yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. Because what's happening is you think you're moving forward, but you're actually going back. You're going back. You think you're going forward, but you're going back. You know, I think I'm moving. But because I'm releasing, see, where you release is so sacred. See, so for some of you, because of the process of the change in your life, you may not have a whole bunch of friends. You may not have a whole bunch of people. You may not have a whole bunch of people. Listen to me. You may not have a whole bunch of people. See, when you weren't changing, you had a whole bunch of people. When you weren't changing, you had a whole bunch of people around your circle. But when you start changing, people start dropping. And you know what? You're like, oh my God, I'm going through. I need someone to lean on. I need someone to talk to. So you know what you go back to? You go back to the person who dropped out your life. You go back to the places in which you said you would never go before. Because you just feel like, oh, I need to release. You know, I need some friends. I need some people in my corner. So you even entertain. Some of you entertain thoughts. Some of you may not do them, but maybe you release in ways that may not be so healthy in your future. What all I'm saying is, here's what all I'm saying. All I'm saying is, be careful in how and where you release your tension and anxiety, especially when you're trying to make big changes in your life. You're trying, especially when you're getting yourself back, be careful. Here's number 3. Do you have a plan to succeed? I'm not saying do you have a vision board? I'm not saying do you have pictures? I'm not saying do you have some words? I'm saying where is the plan? And where is the action plan? Not just the plan. Or what will you do in the next 2 weeks to get here? What are you going to do in the next 2 this to get there? What are you going to do? It goes back to, it's not what you think you're going to do. It's not what you're going to post you're going to do. What are you going to do when it comes to where you're going? I'm telling you, this hunger, this aggressiveness. The enemy does not want you to have a passion about your life. Because when you get a passion and you get desperate and you're saying, I'm tired of being sick and tired. I'm tired of having the same experiences. I'm tired of going through the same issues and mistakes. I'm tired. When you get tired of being tired, you will begin to change some things. But see, if you're still comfortable, you won't change. But I'm telling you, you've got to make a decision. I'm telling you, as you go to bed, you lay your head on your pillow, you're going to see, I'm telling you, you got to speak life into yourself. That's why I said you have to talk like your future. And you've got to say, I am a new person. The Bible says that we have become new creatures in him, that behold, all things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. You know, there's a saying that we say in our company. Gigi taught me with we had one of our t-shirts, and it says, I'm acting brand new. I'm brand new. I'm not the same woman. I'm acting brand new. They may call you brand new. They may call you brand new because you don't do the same stuff, because you're changing how you act. You're changing because you know what? You're getting yourself back. See, they never recognize who you really were. And so when you actually start walking in who you really are, people will start acting funny because they're like, well, who's this woman? This is who I've always was supposed to be. I just was sleeping on myself. I was sleeping on me. I was sleeping on my potential. I was sleeping on my money. I was sleeping on my focus. I was sleeping on my hunger. I was sleeping on my passion, but I'm going to get it back. Matter of fact, I'm not going to get it back. I've got it back. It's just now manifesting itself. You know, so you've got to have that hunger and that desire to love you. I'm telling you, so many of us have lost ourselves so many times. And it's funny how we do not have the time to get ourselves back. But let me tell you something. If you don't have the time to get yourself back, You're not gonna win. But you know what? I know you want to win. I know you're tired of having that gut feeling of fear and choking and never really becoming successful and never really shooting after your purpose and never really being that person that you know God has called you to be. But it's time to be who God's called you to be. It's time to really be yourself. You know that if you're not who you are supposed to be, you're not really yourself. You're not you. You know, it's funny. There's, you guys know the famous commercial. It says, basically there'll be, it's a Snickers commercial. They always say, well, you're not you when you eat, when you don't have your Snicker, right? Because basically what happens is people start acting crazy. And then when they eat their Snicker, they go back to normal, just like, like Frankenstein almost, start acting crazy. And then when they eat their Snicker bar, oh, okay, I'm back to myself. You got to realize that you have to start eating your Snicker bars. Because guess what? The way that you're acting, the way that you're doing things right now, that's not really you. And see, that's what I was saying yesterday when I was encouraging people to join this masterclass. Where I am and who I am are two different people. You are always changing. God is always evolving you. He's always trying to make you better. But you've got to make up in your mind that where you are right now is not indicative or limiting you from where you're going. You may be broken right now, but guess what? You won't be broken anymore. You may feel like you don't have the abilities to do what God's called you to do. Well, guess what? That's not you anymore. You may feel like that somehow everyone is doing what you're doing and there's no space in the market for what God's called you to do. But guess what? If he called you to do it, there's always space. That's not you anymore. You've got to make a decision of, who am I now? Can I ask you that? Who are you right now? Not who you were, not what you've been through, no, who are you right now? And here is the last question. Are you serious about your life? Do you care about you? We get so used to just living life and the rut and just kind of doing things over and over again and the same thing over and over again, just doing it over and over again and over and over again. No, listen, do you care about you? Do you love you? Do you care about your life? And that can be a very raw question because, we always ask people, well, how are you doing? What are you up to? Well, my question to you is, do you care about yourself? I mean, do you honestly care about your life? Because if you care about your life, you're going to change because you care about your life. There's no way for you to care about your life and not make a decision to make a difference and change you. You've got to love yourself. And that doesn't come from someone making you feel like it's time to love you. That's a decision. That can happen any moment. That can happen any moment. You got to make a decision. Do you love yourself? Bible says that treat others as you would have them treat you, right? Love others as you would love yourself. How can I impact the world and I don't love me? Or love me to the degree in which I don't care about my well-being. I don't care about. So you got to start caring about yourself. You remember we talked about how when you care about you, you make more money, you're more powerful, you have more confidence because you are being really who God has always called you to be. Your power is unlocking you. Your greatest miracle in life will be unlocking yourself to your true potential. How do I do that? We just talked about it. I've got to talk like my future. I've got to look like my future. I've got to walk into my future. I've got to remove the language of lack. I've got to look at my dress, my mannerisms, my behavior. And I've got to network. I've got to notate, and I've got to negotiate. Everyone else can play small. But if you are saying to yourself that you really want to be a leader, you want to be someone that changes the world, you've got to rise above the crowd. You can't say that you want to be a leader or you want to impact the world or change the world and you don't want to rise to the occasion. See, but God's created you to rise. See, it's just that most people don't rise because, we don't believe in ourselves. and we can rise. But God's already given you the power, the ability, and the potential to rise. We've got to love ourselves enough. See, love is what lifts you up. When you love yourself, you will always have the power to make a difference. You'll always have the power, because when you love yourself, you will never put yourself in a position to be taken advantage of. You will never tell somebody yes when you know you need to tell them no. You know what? Love says, I'm going to tell you no because I love me enough to know that if I tell you no, it will help me be a better person. I'm willing to go into that boardroom or to go into that meeting and to be who God called me to be confident in my abilities and my giftings. Because if I'm not confident in my abilities and my giftings, I will continue to live a life of disappointment where I always am looking at what will be and not what I will be or what I'm going to walk into. Let me put it like that. So see, you can start walking into your best life now, right now. Your life can completely change. It can, but you've got to make decisions that will afford you to walk into your future. You've got to be willing to do the things that will bring you more money. You know, we got to be willing to charge our work. We got to be willing to show up on time. We got to be willing, you know, to be that awesome leader. We got to be willing to love like we've never loved before. But you can't do those things if you don't love yourself. You've got to realize that I've got to change some things about me in order to have a better me. I've got to change how I walk. I got to change how I talk. I got to change how I look at my life if I'm going to have a better life. I've got to be willing to be by myself sometimes because I got to protect my mind. I got to be willing. This is important. I got to be willing to not run back to my past so that I got to release. Oh no, you got to stay where God's placed you. So I really, I began thinking about what would be the best way to help you. We're coming to an end right there with this masterclass. I was really thinking, God, what should I do? Should I do a business coaching group for them? Should I do it? And it's funny because one of the things that he told me, just kind of, again, I've been praying on this. I'm praying. Say, God, what do they need? And as I begin to think about what I believe would be the best fit for, what would be the product that I would offer for, this, I guess you can call it this masterclass. Of course, I give you guys this free content, free class, and I got to figure out, okay, what am I going to bring you into that I believe will really help you? And so, of course, February, I'm in a workshop right now called Product Queen. But March, he said, do a boot camp, like boot camp. Boot camp, where we're going to teach about business, I'm going to teach about, and he said, no, no, you're going to teach them how to live this life. And so what I want to invite, not everyone, I know everyone, may not be ready for the investment or of walking into this. And some of you may be able to do this on your own, but one of the things that I really wanted to do in March and that God really impressed on my heart was to do a boot camp for life. It's not a boot camp for business. It's not a boot camp for your career. It's not a boot camp for ministry. This is a boot camp to help you become a better you. Some of you need to realize that you have to really begin doing things differently. If you don't do things differently, you won't have a different life. If you don't do things differently, you won't have a different life. Now, some of you got the self-control, you'll be able to do this. But for some of you, you need me to show you how to do this thing, how to look at your future differently, how to walk differently in your future, how to negotiate differently, how to have more confidence differently. And so what we're doing is we're doing this is the Secure March Boot Camp. This is the Secure March Boot Camp. And I'm so excited. And, at first I was going to have it be open, just like Product Queen, we're going to have a whole bunch of slots, but we're not going to do it that way. God gave me a number, 25. He's always trying to, give me directions, but I go by the Holy Spirit. And so what we're doing is I'm doing 25 seats, and we start in March, And what we're doing is for this first week, I'm going to allow those of you who watch Secure to get your seats first before I open this up to the public. Before I open up the link and everyone can watch this and everything like that. What we're going to do is it's going to be an intimate group coaching for 4 weeks, from March the 5th to March 26th. We're going to meet every Monday. We're going to meet every Monday at 7 p.m. And I'm going to break out the areas in which we're going to need to attack. And this is going to be a very intimate group coaching session. So if you're someone who is not really ready to open up, or, this probably is not going to be the best coaching session for you. This is going to be a very raw journey for many of you, because we've got to release those things that are not working for us anymore. And we've got to figure out, okay, this is where we are, but now it's time to walk into a greater level of life. You got to expose yourself to things you never exposed yourself to. You've got to invest into your future. I'm going to teach you how to do those things. So what we're going to do is that we're going to spend those 4 weeks unlocking that mindset. We've touched on many things on tonight that I really believe is the catalyst for many of you on how you're going to change your life. Right, on how to start speaking that abundance language versus that lack language, right? And so we're going to tackle every week. We're going to tackle different components of how you can begin walking into your abundant life. But see, this is more of a mental boot camp. It's more of an action boot camp. So it's not going to be, of course, it will affect your business. It will affect your career. It will affect your mothering. It will affect your family. But it won't be focused on those components. It's going to be focused on you, on how to become somebody who is walking into their best level, into their best them, into who God has called you to be. So if you're watching this masterclass and you're watching it within my website, genesisdorsey.com, then there should be a link. There should be a call to action box down below, and it should say join the Secure March Bootcamp. If you're on YouTube, the link is in the description box. Okay, if you're on YouTube, the link is in the description box. What I'm doing is that for the next 48 hours, that is 48 hours. That is, in other words, from tonight, that is 2 days. I'm giving you the ability to secure it at this price, because if anyone has, and many of you, some of you have, well, I'm not sure if anyone, because I'm sure if you went to that program, you would not be in this course. But there have been many women who've gone through my Faith and Clarity program that I've done. Now, my Faith and Clarity program that I've done in the past is it is $9.97 per month for 3 months. So it's $1,000 per month. And I knew that for many women who would be taking this particular webinar masterclass, that's not an investment that you probably are not ready to make, because to even get to that place, there's some things you got to do. So I figured, how could I take a program and give it to you in a way that will help you really launch you into your greatest, launch you into your future, launch you further. So what I'm going to do is, that's basically what I'm doing, is that for 4 weeks, I'm charging you $149. But that's only for the next 48 hours, because it's going to go up. Because one of the things you're going to have to learn in becoming a better you is investing in you. Investing in who can teach you how to become a better you. Now, again, this may not be for everybody, but for those of you who believe that this is for you, I want you to make a choice. Remember, we're talking about making choices. I want you to make a choice to become a better you, to become somebody who's going to say, you know what, I'm going to walk into my next level. Maybe for you, this may not maybe be so much of an investment, but more of a seed. Maybe this is a seed for you to understand on how I've got to plant some things on the inside of me in order for me to get to my destiny. Maybe for some of you, this is going to be a faith move for you, because you've been so used to investing in other people, helping them. And so maybe for you, this will be your very first investment in yourself, in you understanding how to walk into your greatness. So again, I want you, if you are hungry, if you're ready, I want you to invest into this boot camp. Again, I'm going to be spending 4 weeks with you. We're going to be in a group setting. We're going to come together every Monday. It's going to be in a Zoom platform. So that means that we'll be able to see each other, hear each other's voices, and we're going to spend an hour every week. But guess what? That's not just it. I'm also going to be sending you daily affirmations via text from March the 5th to the 26th, basically for the whole entire month of March, I'm going to be sending you daily affirmations to keep you focused on how you are going to be securing your future. I'm telling you, this is going to be basically an intensive to where we're going to focus. I mean, because I'm going to tell you this, this is probably like my whole thing with God. I said, God, give me something that I needed. This is something that I would have needed, because I needed somebody and I needed people who were going in the right direction, who we all were going through the same thing. And we needed just to lean on other people's shoulders and say, you know what? We're going to focus on creating a better life for ourselves. You may say, you know what? I'm going to focus from March the 5th to the 26th. I'm going to focus on, you know what, charging my worth, or I'm going to focus on, really, becoming more hands-on on my job and my career. I'm going to become maybe more focused on in my ministry and really believing in myself when it comes to my ministry. Maybe you're someone who's going to say, you know what, I'm going to spend these next 4 weeks, loving on myself. I'm going to learn how to love on me so that I can become a better me, so I can become maybe a better mother, a better wife, a better sister, a better daughter. Maybe, you're going to use these 4 weeks to become somebody who to say, you know what, I'm going to get over that choking fear, that choking experience, and I'm going to begin walking into my best level. I really believe that God has called you to walk into your best level, but sometimes it does take a push. So if you would allow me to push you, if you would allow me to spend some time with you every Monday at 7 p.m., and you may say, well, Genesis, what if I'm not available? Well, I would suggest that maybe you go another round, but of course you can always get the replays. But really the magic and the blessing of all this will be in the experience that we'll share with one another, being around one another virtually and spending time to say, you know what, I'm going to live a different life. It's time for you to live a different life. It's not different in the way where it's weird, but different into the fact that this is the life you should have already. But see, just took a realization, took a moment in you to realize that where I'm at is not where I'm supposed to be. And God has given me the ability to dream big, to live big, and to do big things. So again, I want you to click on the link. Again, if you are watching this from my website, then the link, the call to action box should be below. You'll be able to read, just an introductory blurb on what we'll be doing. I'm also, again, on top of sending you daily affirmations via text, I'm also going to be sending you some worksheets to really enforce what we talked about in this free masterclass. So when it comes to, dealing with your money, when it comes to dealing with your emotions, when it comes to dealing with your mind, okay, I'm going to make sure that you are really focusing on those things. Also, every single person who registers for this 4-week, I'm also going to be sending you some physical resources. Physical, in other words, I'm going to ship some things to your house, some physical things that I believe will help you live a better life. There's going to be some books you're going to need to read. There's some books I'm going to send you. You're going to be getting 3 resources, 3 different books that I believe are what you need to read to help you begin. Remember, we talked about notating, right? Well, that means that in notating, you got to read. You've got to take notes on what your life should be like. So I'm going to be sending you 3 different books that I believe will help shape your mindset, will help shape, your ability to really walk into your next level emotionally, financially, spiritually. Guys, I pray that you had an awesome experience with me. I pray that this masterclass was a push in the right direction for you. I don't really know what it has done for you, but I have the confidence that it has helped you rethink your life. It's helped you reposition yourself to know that I've got what it takes, but I've got to believe in myself. I've got to be someone who believes in my ability to change the world. I've got to be someone that says, you know what? It's time out to keep on going in circles. It's time for me to shoot the arrow. It's time for me to make some action, make some action steps. You can no longer sleep on yourself. It's time to wake up. It's time for you to wake up. It's time for you to walk into your greatest level. It's time for you to walk in your destiny. And it's time out for these things to be cliches. You walk into your best level. You're going to be your best level yet. God's doing great things. Well, those things will not apply to you if you're not making decisions. It's time for you to make a decision to love on you, to chase God. And here's the most important thing, is to be who he's called you to be. He wants you to be who he's called you to be. So guys, I will see you at another time. Thank you so much for registering for this masterclass. Remember, the next 48 hours, you'll be able to grab your seat. We have only 25 seats available. So you'll be able to grab your seat for only $149 for your seat for this 4-week boot camp. Now, believe me, this is a huge discount, because anyone who has been a part of my coaching programs, you already know my coaching programs start at $1,000 per month. But I said to myself, you know what, I want to do something for those of you who, you may not have a whole bunch of money, but you've got something to place in as a seed. I don't even want you to think of it as an expense. I want you to think of it as an investment. I want you to think of it as a seed, as an investment into your future. But here's the thing, it's going to give itself back, because this class, this workshop, this boot camp is going to be all about you getting to who you need to be. It's going to give itself over and over again, because as you get closer to who you're supposed to be, guess what's going to happen? You're going to walk in a new you. You're going to walk into an improved you. You're going to make more money. You're going to be more confident. You're going to love yourself more. But again, it all comes down to being a choice. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this masterclass. I hope to see you again and again. Remember this. You've got to secure your mind so that you can do what? Secure your money. I pray that you guys have a blessed rest of your day whenever you're watching this. And remember that God is always with you. He'll never leave you and he'll never forsake you. See you guys later. Bye-bye. Be blessed.